There are new concerns this morning about the progress of those high-stakes negotiations to raise the debt ceiling. A Democratic official familiar with the talks tells NBC News that negotiations have hit a, quote, speed bump. White House officials and Republican congressional leaders had said they were moving closer to a deal to avert a potential first-ever default in the U.S. And according to a Democratic source familiar with the talks, the two sides are expected to meet again today. While they have called recent negotiations productive, one of Speaker McCarthy's negotiators says there is still a lot of work to do.
I don't think things are going well until the White House understands that they have a spending crisis, they have a tax crisis, and they have a debt crisis. We're not going to be able to make this deal.
We're joined by NBC News senior congressional reporter Scott Wong and NBC News Digital senior White House reporter Peter Nicholas. Good morning to both of you. Peter, let's start with you in this new reporting out this morning, the so-called speed bump, according to this Democratic official. We have to point out we've not gotten a response from the Speaker or his team about that claim, but what can you tell us about this?
Well, it doesn't look good right now. Both sides still are far apart. President Biden came back early, cut short his trip from Asia to participate in this, but we've not seen a breakthrough. And I think the sticking points are very traditional. Republicans want deep cuts in non-defense spending. President Biden is saying that he will accept some spending cuts, but nothing that's severe. And then there's a disagreement over taxes. Biden wants what he calls a balanced approach, where some taxes would go up for wealthy Americans. There would be a closing of some tax loopholes. Republicans are not willing to accept any tax increases. So the clock is ticking down. We only have about a week before the nation won't be able to pay its bills. And that, in turn, is going to set off some stock market gyrations that could cut into people's 401ks. So this is getting serious very quick. This is very serious.
Yeah, and Scott,
only getting worse.
Scott, because of that, I mean, there is so much pressure both on the president and House Speaker McCarthy to get a deal done, to avoid defaulting. Where do things stand right now from House Speaker McCarthy's perspective?
Well, Speaker McCarthy has laid out a number of red lines. Peter has mentioned a few of them. Speaker McCarthy has said no cuts to defense spending, pointing to the president's trip to Japan and meeting with the G7 on several national security issues related to China and other challenges in the region. Speaker McCarthy has also talked about no new taxes, and he's also ruled out to the dismay of perhaps several people on Capitol Hill, a short-term extension of the debt ceiling, that would take off this option if we were to be right up against the deadline of June 1st, just next week. And so this creates a very narrow, limited path. The White House and Capitol Hill Democrats, including Hakeem Jeffries, the House leader, have said they're open to freezing spending cuts. You know, if McCarthy wants to talk about spending, then they have said that they are open to spending cuts. But that is a non-starter with Speaker McCarthy and House Republicans. And so, again, we have this impasse. The sticking point, the main sticking point, again, comes back to spending.
And McCarthy spoke about this yesterday. Let's take a listen to what he had to say about it.
It really comes down to this. Why are we in the problem we're in? People have spent too much money, and the Democrats want to even spend more than we spent last year. We're trying to condense everything in a short time frame. The House passed a bill and the Senate never passed one. So now it's more difficult because what else do you have to negotiate from a lot of different perspectives, but we can still finish in time.
So, Peter, we are getting a clearer picture of what each side is looking for. Let's break it down. Explain what some of the big sticking points are and just how far apart they really are right now.
Well, they seem quite far apart. I mentioned differences over spending and taxes. There are some areas where you can see maybe the path to a compromise. For example, on permitting reform, both sides seem open to the idea of loosening permit requirements that would boost energy infrastructure spending, and it would speed up those kinds of projects. So that's one possibility. They might be able to claw back some unspent COVID-19 money. So that would be, some billions of dollars in savings there. And it's possible that by cleaning up how the government pays for Medicare, for example, there might be some excess and some waste in government spending on certain Medicare programs. where they might be able to forge a compromise. But there are quite a few differences that still remain, so we'll see.
Yeah, and Scott, I mean, here's the thing. There really isn't much time left because if there's a deal, Congress is going to need, 72 hours to try and prove it and review it and vote on it. Talk about this tight timeline here.
Exactly. We know that there are now 9 days left before the June 1st deadline that Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has laid out, the date, the X date, when the United States will run out of money to pay its bills and its debt obligations. Key GOP negotiators, including Garrett Graves, who was in the room with these White House officials, came out yesterday, talked to reporters, and said that really he thinks what's going to happen at this point is because of this impasse, they are going to probably send home House lawmakers later this week on Thursday, wrap up votes, send them home for the Memorial Day weekend, and then hopefully they can get a deal. They think there's still a narrow window where they can avoid default, perhaps get a deal by Monday, setting up a Tuesday vote. It hands the process off to the United States Senate, which is a whole nother story, but they do think at this point there is still a very narrow window in which to avoid default. We'll see what happens. It remains to be seen how this is all going to play out.
Going to be cutting it close no matter what. All right, Scott, Peter, thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.